Are you stuck on the financial data section of Form 1023, wondering how to handle the Statement of Revenues and Expenses, wondering where to even begin? Don't you worry, I've got you covered. Stay tuned. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Your story is your mission. My name is Beatrice Adams, and I'm so happy that you joined me today. And if you are new to this channel, welcome. Today, without further ado, we're going to continue on with the Statement of Revenue section. I've already done one video. It's part one. I hope you've seen that one. Please watch it. And today with this video, we're going to continue to dive into that Statement of Revenue section, and that is part 6 of the Form 1023, because Statement of Revenues and the numbers and everything, it can be intimidating. I get it. We love numbers as long as we're dealing with the numbers in our checkbook, as long as that checkbook has a lot of money in it, right? But having said all of that, let me stop fooling around. Let's go ahead and get to that Statement of Revenue section. See you on my computer.
So I decided I'd be on the screen with you as I'm walking you through these steps. We'll see how that goes. I may just get off of the screen, but if you prefer that I'm on the screen when I'm walking you through these forms and the instructions, just put a comment down below and let me know, thumbs up or whatever, it's okay. If not, let me know that as well. Having said all of that, let's go ahead and get into the statement of revenues and expenses. Now, this is my Excel sheet that I have prepared, and it's one that I've already put in formulas for as far as the projections, but let's go ahead and get with it. So remember, I said at the beginning of every single document, I don't care what it is, make sure you have the name of the nonprofit as it is listed in your articles of incorporation and then the EIN number. And we are going to label this statement of revenues and expenses. Now, this will be for fiscal year 2024. That's the current year. Although it is now September, we are still in 2024. So that is the current year, tax year, or annual accounting period, I should say. And then we're going to have fiscal year projections for 2025 and 2026. Now, in this case, Pretty Paws Foundation is a new nonprofit. So we are going to say current year projections, okay? I did miss this part right here. I always just kind of label it so the IRS will know what I'm referencing, and they see now that I'm referencing the financial data section for Form 1023, Part 6. Now, the current year projections will, for Pretty Paws Foundation, remember to go back to look at your bylaws and see if you can't remember, make sure it's correct. Go to your bylaws and see what you have put for your annual accounting period for the nonprofit. In this case, Pretty Paws Foundation, their annual accounting period is December. So the current year projections will be for January 1st of 2024 to 12/31 of 2024. Future projections will be 1/1/2025 to 12/31/2025, so on and so forth. Future projections 1/1/26 to 12/31/2026. And remember in the last video that I did, that was part one of Statement of Revenues and Expenses. I mentioned to you why we're only having to do two future year projections, and that is because Pretty Paws Foundation has been in existence for less than 27 months. Okay, so with that being said, now I just want to point out this is the way I do it. There may be other individuals or businesses that do their statement of revenues completely different, but this is just what works for me and my clients. I have enjoyed a 100% approval rate when completing the documentation for my clients to become a 501c3 tax exempt organization. So this is what I do. So, but if you ever have any questions about numbers or so on and so forth that you want to go beyond this, always consult with a CPA, okay? Not the person that just does your taxes at Walmart. I'm not trying to be funny, but not just the person that does your taxes at Walmart. You want to actually consult with a CPA, someone that is well versed in nonprofit accounting, okay? Just wanted to point that out. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is individual contributions. Now, recall in the last video that I did kind of run some numbers against the Farley Foundation as well as ChatGPT. I showed you that trick on how to use that. Remember, do not use that word for word. But always do your research based on actual numbers, but ChatGPT is pulling from a whole wide range of numbers. But that's not a source, right? I mean, you can look at it, it saves you time, but you want to actually look at a nonprofit that is like yours and kind of find a budget that's based on that. Now, the Farley Foundation had been in existence or has been in existence for since 2002. So their numbers were pretty big. They're rocking and rolling, going right along, doing great, right? For they are fulfilling their mission and helping all of the pets and people, subsidize the veterinary costs for their demographic, but I decided to kind of go on the low end with individual contributions. Because it's a new nonprofit, I knew those contributions, as much as we would love for them to be 100,000, 200,000, as a new nonprofit, it's fairly unlikely that would be the case. So I went on the low end for the individual contributions. Um, Now, pet clothing donations, I just know my sister loves to dress her two little chihuahuas in pet clothing. So I thought that there would probably be people in the demographic for Pretty Paws Foundation that would enjoy, being able to put a nice warm vest or something on their pet during the winter time, according to what, chihuahuas, they kind of get real shaky and they seem to be cold. I don't know if they really are, but anyway. So we've got that there. Now, grant income governmental. Haven't addressed that yet. These are numbers that I just had in there, but I haven't addressed that just yet. We'll go back to that and we'll go back to, so that's governmental and then that's non-governmental. Non-governmental would be like, let's just say the Walmart Foundation. You wanted to try to get a grant from them. That would be non-governmental. Because governmental would be the government. So, fundraising income, I base those numbers off of ChatGPT more so because they were more realistic. Having run a nonprofit before, I know that the fundraising income when you're new will be on the low side. So that's where I came up with that. I decided to go with the ChatGPT numbers more so because the Farley Foundation, they had hundreds of thousands of fundraising income. And that was just not realistic in this case. So we have special event. Now, I want to tell you something. These numbers, what I'm coming up with, individual contributions, fundraising income, and so on and so forth, I'm actually getting that off of the Form 1023. Just pull the PDF of Form 1023 and go to Part 6. This is Statement of Revenues and Expenses. Now they're telling you exactly what you need to put here. So I'm actually pulling these numbers in here when we're talking about grants. You can list it in your statement of revenues exactly as they have it on here. I don't go word for word as to how they have it, but you can certainly do that. They have gifts, grants, and contributions received for that first part. The reason I don't go exactly by this when I'm doing the actual Excel spreadsheet is because I know, for instance, membership fees received. I don't have that. We're not charging my demographic for membership fees. If you are, then you need to put that in your Excel spreadsheet. So just kind of look down here and put what is relevant for you in the spreadsheet. Now, when you actually go back, and we're going to go back to the Form 1023 application, the interactive one at pay.gov, then we're going to address those numbers. But if you know you don't have gross investment income, which is what's on this form, you're just going to put zero. So, but you don't have to go through that process in the Excel spreadsheet. You're only going to address what you're dealing with, what you know you're going to have coming in, or you anticipate, project what will be coming in for your nonprofit. So I have this right here on the sides. We're going to hold on to that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of skip down here. I'm not going to really address all of these just yet. Now, these numbers over here, those are my, based off of the formulas that I have put in. So we're not going to address that just yet. And remember, I said this video is probably going to be in at least 2, 3 parts. It's just a little complicated to relay on the screen on the YouTube. So, salaries. Wouldn't we all love to get paid the first year of running any business, not to mention a nonprofit? But if you're able to get paid that first year, hats off to you. I think that's awesome. From running a nonprofit, from starting a nonprofit and running one with my friends. Again, it was a Save My Cemetery. That was to restore abandoned cemeteries. We weren't able to pay ourselves that first year. We actually never got paid, but we kept going. That's just the way it is. But you want to do it a little differently. You want to make sure that you're getting paid. We put everything that we received in funds back into the nonprofit. But I have another video on paying yourself. I'm just telling you, you got bills. I got bills. So you want to be able to pay yourself. But in the very first year of running a nonprofit, it is highly unlikely that you'll be able to do that. But you definitely want to start projecting that in the second and the third year for sure. So payroll taxes would be zero as well. Now that's 20% over here. Do your research. That 20% is just kind of like an average of FICA and all of that stuff, state taxes, federal, that, that's where I came up with that 20%. It may be just a little higher. It's according to your state. So that's just an average. The IRS is not going to ding you on that. They know that that's close to being right. Don't worry about that. But do your research. I didn't just put 20% there. I did look at, the state and so on and so forth, and all of the taxes involved with the state, again, federal, FICA, all of that wonderful stuff. Health insurance, we're going to be a zero. Let me just go ahead and put zero here. For one, you don't have any salary there in the first year, so we're just going to say zero. Now, I'm going to not go through all of this right here. I want to show you something else, right? So we're going to just kind of focus right now on this right here. So let me just highlight that. So everything else I have in here, contract labor, CPA expense, professional administrative, Zoom business plans, those are kind of general things that you probably will want to use in your budget. You want to put that in there. But if you don't feel like you need a Zoom business plan, then hey, I mean, because Zoom is free, but if you want to get more people on a call, you have to pay for it. But you don't have to go based on everything I have here. But just know that some of this stuff will be pretty generic. Marketing and advertising, postage, printing, copying, those things will be generic that should go into your expenses. That's why I say look at a nonprofit's budget that is like the one that you're starting and just keep digging it in, Google searching, not ChatGPT. Remember, you're running it against actual numbers. Keep digging in, right? So until you find what you're looking for. So I want to show you something here. So you see that subsidies for surgeries, male dogs, right? So what I did was I pulled up a budget for ASPCA. Let me get that over here. See if I can make this make sense. So I pulled up a budget for ASPCA, And this, they'll tell you right here, it says prices indicated in this spreadsheet are examples only and not indicative of the current market. So this is an example only, but it is a really good example. That's just why I tell you to dig in until you find what you're looking for, something that's going, a budget that's going to help you get to the numbers that you need to get to. Because though they're guesstimations, you want them to be as accurate as possible for you so that you'll know about what you can expect it will take to run the nonprofit for the first year, second year, and the third year, right? So as you can see here, the ASPCA, they have surgeries. Now this is, they are referencing surgeries right here for female dogs, surgeries for male dogs. Now that's something I never thought about, but it makes sense, right? That female dogs would have a different category than male dogs when it comes to surgery. Got different parts. That's just the way it is. But I didn't think about that. So they estimate, now this is what their numbers are, 900 female dogs. It's probably very accurate to what they do. Surgeries for 900 female dogs in 1 year at $80 per surgery. That's their estimate, probably based on actual numbers because hey, it's the ASPCA. That's why I feel really confident with going with these numbers as opposed to the Farley Foundation because I can kind of look at this and know, hey, first year we're probably not going to be able to subsidize surgery costs for 900 female dogs, but I feel confident in the first year that we may be able to subsidize the cost. That's Pretty Paws Foundation for 50 female dogs. So 900 dogs, they say at $80 per surgery. That's female dogs. It's a cost to the ASPCA of $72,000 per year. Now, I am going to say when I'm doing my budget, because in the end, this budget is a budget, so it has to balance. The expenses cannot be more than the revenue. It can't. I mean, you might be able to budget it right there at zero, but the expenses cannot outweigh the revenue. So we need to budget accordingly. So I am going to, let me just move this over here, or can I? I can't move it over there. But I'm just going to calculate that we estimate that we can do 50 surgeries for female dogs at $80 per surgery for the year. So that's $4,000. That's more in line with what I think will work for, you know, Pretty Paws Foundation the first year. So that's the female dogs. I'm going to put that in here at $4,000. So you see where I'm going with this? Guesstimations. Yes, they are guesstimations. You're saying, I think I'll be able to do 50 surgeries, but they're based off of actual numbers, okay, from a like nonprofit. So let's pull this over here and you can see the male. So male dogs, and I feel funny saying dogs because my sister does not allow you to call her little chihuahuas dogs. You have to say girls or babies. So I can't say dogs. That's, hey, I love them though. I love Juju and Daisy. So, all right. So, female, we're at male dogs. Okay. I said that we or guesstimate that we'll be able to do 50 surgeries for female dogs. So, let's just guesstimate the same. We're going to do 50 surgeries for the year for our male dogs. And oops, sorry about that. So the male dogs, don't do that again. All right, the male dogs, look at that. Their cost for surgery is $10 lower, according to the ASPCA. So we're going to do 50 of those surgeries. That's 50 times $70. So we can confidently guesstimate that it will cost the nonprofit, Pretty Paws Foundation, $3,500 the first year to do 50 surgeries. Okay, we'll get that out the way. And let's move this out the way. And so we're going to put what that number was. And look at that, I forgot what the number was that quick. So we're going to put $3,500 here for, oops, the male dogs. Now, let me show you something else. I think you're getting the gist of it. So rabies vaccination, because this is important, they get bit. So they need to be by stray animals, or they could. So we want to make sure that all of that's taken care of. So we have, let's go down here and find what they have for rabies. Now, I'm not reading all of this because we're just kind of working off the numbers. They're telling you how they got these numbers or what all went into it. So we're going to go down here. Okay, so rabies vaccinations, they estimate they're going to do 5,500 for the year. So I just said that we have right now on schedule to do 100 surgeries for the year. So that's kind of telling me we can only handle 100 pets as far as the owners and subsidizing the veterinary care. So let's do, that's $9 that they say the price on average is for rabies vaccinations. So that's 900. So, but I'm going to do it anyway. 100 times 9. So that's $900 for rabies vaccinations. And there we go. So we're going to put that in. Oop, go back up there. So we're going to put 900 in. And so on and so forth. There are other things that we will need to do, which would be just veterinary care in general. And that will be, their shots and so on and so forth. And I don't think, let me see. I'm just going to go here. Female dogs. They have different numbers for female dogs, male dogs. I think you figured that out. Um, and then they have the cats and the male cats. We're going to focus on just the dogs because, well, there's a dog on Pretty Paws Foundation on my bylaws, right? So, but they do actually subsidize veterinary care for animals in general. So anyway, I'm just going to do a guesstimate here. Let's put here, let's insert a row. And let's just put subsidies for shots and basic veterinary care. So we're going to put that in here, and I'm going to actually do 100 total because we know we can actually handle 100 pets, right? And I am going to do, they have female cats and male cats, $55 for female, $45 for the actual males. And you see that women, we cost more than the men. That's just the way it is. So 55, 55 plus 45, what I'm going to do is an average between the two. So the average between that two would be $50. So then $50 times 100 pets would be $5,000. So you see how you kind of have to know, like work these numbers based off of an actual nonprofit that is like yours. It's very important to do that. So I have to tell you that because this is a quite a complicated and lengthy process, we're going to stop here. I know you're like, oh my God, why are you stopping here? Because I need to stop here because I don't want the videos to go too long. I want you to, as we're going through this, start getting those numbers together, seeing what it actually costs to run the type of nonprofit that you're wanting to start, and make sure you have everything in line. For instance, if you're starting a nonprofit that will give grants to, I think I mentioned this before, grants to theater students, and you want to give a $500 grant to a girl, a $500 grant to a boy, and please forgive me, them, they, what have you, the case is, you want to make sure you put this in your budget. So if you know that you're going to be giving those grants to a child, to a student, let's just say students, right? So you want to just insert a row there, and I'm going to take this out, but you want to say grants, theater grants for theater students. And we actually, let's say high school students, because they're the ones that will need it, right? They're going to be getting out of high school soon, high school seniors. Okay, so if you're going to be doing that and you're going to give a grant to them, and you know it's for $500 for just one person, you better put that in there. Because if you don't, and all of your other information that you submit to the IRS says, hey, I'm a nonprofit that gives grants to high school theater students, and you don't put that in your budget, in your revenue statement of revenues and expenses, the IRS will call you on that. I'm not saying they will decline your application. I'm just saying they'll ask you to correct that. So that's why it's important while we finish this video for you to then start looking at what your nonprofit is, going to be offering and the things that it will need to run it, right? So I will take that out. I almost said "ama" is not a word, y'all, but it felt right at that time. So let's take that row out that I just added for the grants. And I'll stop there because it is a lot to it. And I will catch you in the next video, which will be part 3 of Statement of Revenues and Expenses. See you in the next video.